Hey guys, just doing my part 4 on common traits between this guy's past victims and I. And it's not just common traits, obviously, as you go through this mini series. It's just a bunch of stuff that kind of tie into talking about common traits and, how abusers choose their victims, perpetrators choose their victims, aka their prey, I guess. And I was just ending it off where I found the second victim, or target, I guess, on the back pages. And, after I read how disgusting the bio was, and I could tell that she didn't write it for herself, I knew right away that it was this guy. And it wasn't just like what was written about her. He wrote the same exact shit that he wrote to me, when we started to fight, like after I rejected him. And also the same way he wrote to me from all the profiles he reached out to me from after I rejected him, as well as the ones that he tried to catfish me through from. And then, I figured it out, and then he'd get mad. He was so angry. But, I wasn't 100% sure. I just knew in that one alone, that I wasn't sure if he just stole this girl's photos and used it. I don't know how deep or how in depth this guy was stalking people or taking people's stuff and using it. So I head over to her Facebook, and there was a bunch of comments on some of her posts that were written the exact same way, written from other profiles that were made to look like they were her friends. And same thing, just mean, disrespectful, derogatory stuff. And when I talk about the disrespectful sick stuff, this guy would do that old dirty man perv talk. And if you know what I'm talking about, it's just, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. Some old men do it, and for some reason, they think women like it. Like, they just think that, oh yeah, it'll turn them on, And I don't know if he just says it to, be weird and annoying because he knows it grosses people out. But I think he truly does think that, he thinks it will excite another woman or something. And I think that's why he does it. But he also mixes it with a lot of, hate when he's getting mad at you and he's messaging you back and just saying really disgusting things about you. He mixes it with that, it's just it's along the lines of SA, to be honest with you. And when he was displaying this chick on the back pages, that's exactly the type of men he was trying to attract. Ones that are into SNFF stuff and, that are into violence and all that, those really, really fucked up men. But like I said, I went to her Facebook and I noticed the same thing. Same type of comments, same type of dialect, same type of wording. It's the same guy. And I knew it. And, I couldn't believe it. And I just remember thinking, this girl had to have met him the same way, just online, and she probably ejected him too. I'm not trying to throw any shade at any old people. I'm not discriminating and against any old people, but a lot of men are really delusional when they think, when they get around 50 or something and they can't understand why a really young, pretty girl doesn't want them. And the way he had her displayed on the back pages was yeah, clearly she probably rejected him. He sounded very angry, and that's probably what he was trying to do to me, to be honest with you. But to be honest with you, that's a really huge, and direct charge. If someone is to post a nude about you and you knew that they did it, it's an instant. It's a lot faster in the system than it is to, charge a stalker, anything like that. It's pretty quick. They strip digital footprints. It's very serious. And since I knew this guy was stalking me, I think that's why he never did display me on the back pages or anything like that. So that's why I think these girls have no awareness of this guy, because he did that, If they had an awareness that he was stalking them and that he was using their photos, he should have gotten a lot of trouble by now, unless, they had some bad history with a dude and they put the blame on that dude, which that happens a lot. And that's also why I'm here, because, this guy can get a lot of people into trouble. He could stage someone to get hurt. He could stage someone to get, in trouble with the law. He could stage a cheating. He could stage anything, behind all these accounts. When I realized it, I realized the damage that he could have done, not only to me and my family and friends, but I was thinking about all the damage that he could have done to other people. And you know, if these girls have no awareness that he's around and that he's doing all this and that he could be possibly pinning blame of all the online shenanigans he does onto somebody else around them, and they're just constantly blaming this person and not seeing them in person and not talking to them and finding out the truth, well, he can just continue this and continue doing whatever he's doing. And it's really unfair. I really hope things haven't gotten that far, you know, like maybe there could be a good chance that they're just not online, but their pictures are being uploaded. That's the thing, is like there is new updated photos of them. So I did mention in the one video that I think this guy's ultimate goal was to kind of run me off the internet and have a direct access to me through a fake account that I didn't know. You know, even though I have to pretend everybody's fake, like with every person that I come in contact with, including on TikTok, I think he was hoping that I was going to shut down my account so I'd be nowhere to be seen, nowhere to back up myself, nowhere to prove my identity. And he would have just either created an account or continued using whatever one he has of me, if there is one out there of me, and update my new photos, update my new information, and just keep me on the side and talk to me, and I'd have no idea. And I think that's what he's doing to these girls, because I know for sure those aren't them behind those Facebook accounts, but yet they have posts being uploaded. And I have, you know, liked and followed their pages enough and reached out. And I know those are his victims, and they would have reached out. They would have found a way somehow, you know, especially by now. And enough time has kind of sat, and, you know, I kind of sat like a duck for, you know, enough time that I realized, okay, well, you know, those aren't them for sure. You know, I was pretty sure before, but I wasn't 100% sure, you know, until I let myself sit there and wait for them to reach out. But that's the, you know, that the common thing with all of us is like on her Facebook post, this other girl that was on the back pages, it did indicate to her that her and her mom don't get along, or they don't really have much of a relationship. And I'm not really sure if that was just staged there, but it was indicated. And, you know, and if the other girl grew up in the system, and if this guy thought that I didn't have my parents around, well, that was the common denominator between all of us. And as far as I know, you know, we all have had past traumas. Actually, a lot of people have had past traumas. It's quite a common thing, and it's really sad. But, you know, or maybe we had past abusive relationship or past abusive partners, like they had it. I know I did, but maybe they did too. And maybe he learned about that and was like, oh, they had past abusive partners and they stayed. Oh, perfect. You know, those are perfect. I can control them and manipulate them. And like, look at us. We all got away. We all found new people, you know, like a new man, I guess, and had babies. You know, I'm when I say I'm not sure if they have new men in their life or not, but like they did clean up their lives. They do have another baby. They look like they're doing really well. You know, I'm hoping they're taking care of their mental health and they're safe, and their babies are beautiful and they look beautiful themselves. They look like they're doing very good. And that's why I'm making this video, you know, just to educate people on just not on how to become a victim, but just how these people choose victims and what I figured out. But also for these girls eventually to find out about this. This guy purposely made it hard for me to make contact. Like he thought of this well in advance, especially after I reached out to his ex. I guarantee you that's around the time when he started working on hacking people, you know, because he knew at some point it was going to come out, especially when I messaged her. You know, he knew I was all about ripping open the truth and finding out about it. Like, I could have just sat back and ignored her. I could just ignore everybody. I could just move on and just, you know, do whatever, but I can't do that. The people need help, and like there's just things, like I said, people don't know that people need to be aware of, especially these past victims, and that's why I'm up here, you guys.